Brett, I'm curious to know what are the ways you work with other people to, for example, clear some of the items on your calendar, especially the routine ones, because maybe there's expectation being set up, maybe that's something people already get used to. I think that's one of the potential outcome out of the energy or calendar audit. I guess one of the challenge for people to do something like that is that they don't know how to break from that. That it certainly happens to me in the past.
Sure, I think it's a good question. I'll give an example of one scenario that I had. We used to have is either every week or every other week, every fortnight, not biweekly. So go ahead and unpack what biweekly means and fortnight means. But we would have a 1 hour meeting where for half of that meeting, people were just reporting on status. People would come in and they would say, here's where we are, here's where we are, here's where we are. And it was just on the calendar. And we continued to do that. What we realized was we don't need to spend a full hour of time doing that. No one was calling it out. No one was even raising it as like, this is not really a requirement for us to spend this hour. Let's talk about how we can get what we really need here. And it could just be, let's just fill out a one pager with sort of our metrics about where we are, circulate that ahead of time, make it required reading. And then we actually have like a 15-minute or 20-minute discussion instead about like where we are. And now you've just reclaimed half an hour, 40 minutes of time, and you get to the same result, right? So that could be an example. That's one example. With someone I was working with, we had a discussion where she was in an organization and she had this meeting every single day that she would go to that ate up an hour of her time. And in that discussion, it was what I worked with her on was saying, what is it that you really need out of this time? Like, what is it that's the value that you're contributing to this group? And what do you need out of here? And how can you design things to make sure that it serves your group really well in terms of their being able to have ownership and not being overmanaged, and allows you to contribute in the way that's appropriate, that really works for everyone involved. But that requires coming to the table and having a constructive conversation about what the needs are and what you're trying to accomplish. But right, that just means bringing people together and being open and honest about what you're trying to do, as opposed to just saying, this is the hour on my calendar every single day, and therefore I'm just going to sacrifice that hour.
The other day I was having a conversation with someone that said, typically, just reflects how lack of awareness there is for people to realize that how much impact the time got wasted in meetings. For example, the analogy he mentioned really resonated with me. He said, nobody probably going to raise any concern if you have organize a meeting of 10 people sitting together to talk about something. But if you ask for a team outing budget for like $2,000, that's probably less expensive than having 10 people jump on call for 1 hour. But I think that analogy, the translation, immediately creates a lot of awareness that actually this is really expensive to have other people, join a meeting without much impact. Not to mention that the other cost of context switch that can happen before and after.
Absolutely. Right. So if you're coming into a meeting, and even if your goal there is to record what the decision is out of like that discussion about budget allocation for an event, like maybe you don't even need to be at the meeting. Maybe you just need someone to send you afterwards, like, this was the decision. Great. Let me just mark it down. And like now you've just saved someone an hour's worth of time. Right. There's a lot of different ways when you say, what are the real needs of this time? And like, how can we satisfy those needs, as opposed to saying the work is actually just having the hour on the calendar.